one of the big ones is feeling neglected, feeling resentful, and then the parents feeling really, really bad because they look back and they're like, I didn't give that kind of love and attention that I wish I had to my neurotypical kid. So it goes back to that intentionality and really thinking about, okay, how am I showing up for this kid that doesn't really on the surface need me as much? And how am I making sure that this child feels the same kind of attention that I do? Because, again, neurodiverse kids need a lot more support and help. And it can be all encompassing if we don't really step back and make sure that we're trying to balance it.
So are there resources for parents that have like a child that's ADHD? Are there resources or training that those parents can dig into to provide them with having to transition from one child to the next, and one's neurodiverse, the other one's not. And, I can imagine that's a huge challenge.
It is a huge challenge. So the first thing that I would say is there's an organization called CHADD, CHADD. And CHADD is an international ADHD organization that has so many resources that you couldn't even use them all if you wanted to. So that would be the first place that I would go. They have on-demand trainings, they have readings, they have a huge conference every year that many, many, many parents of adult kids attend to get support and go to the sessions. So that would be the first place that I would start. The second place that I would go to is finding either a family therapist or a coach like myself who can support you in building family systems, because ADHD affects the entire family. We can't just build a system for this one person and say like, oh, okay, we'll all just go along our way and hopefully you've got it. Really has to be about systems that the whole family kind of buys into so that everyone can be on the same page. And finding a professional that can help you build those can be really, really helpful. The third I would say is, you mentioned Facebook groups, many, many online Facebook groups for parents of ADHD kids, whether they are 5 or 55. So I would highly recommend finding a group that you can ask questions to, you can bounce ideas off of, so that you don't feel quite so isolated and alone, because it really can feel very isolating, especially if you live in a community or somewhere where all the kids kind of seem like they have it together. And you go to book club and all your friends' adult kids are like thriving and doing great and don't need help. It can feel really shameful and isolating. So finding a group where other people are going through it with you and understand what it feels like can be really helpful.
Right. That's good. So last question, what practical tools help create sustainable systems for family dynamic?
Yes, that's a great question. So the first thing that I would do is I would figure out a calendaring system for your family. Now, what we need to know about ADHDers, if it's out of sight, it's out of mind. So you might have your Google Calendar, your family Google Calendar that you've shared with everyone, and you might notice that your adult or young adult child never adds to it, never looks at it, and it's really frustrating. So you're like, I put your appointment on there. So what you need to do is sit down as a family and figure out, and by family, I mean anyone who would be affected by their dysfunction, right? And figure out, okay, what is going to work for you to see it, but it's also going to work for us to be able to easily update it and easily figure it out. So for my family, for instance, I ordered a custom whiteboard that's very large and in our kitchen. And each person has a box for each day. And that's where everybody knows to write. If you have an appointment, if you have a practice, if you have an extra thing you need to go to, it is the hub.